Greetings, everyone, and welcome to today's Jane Mackenzie Quantum Medical Center's live educational evening, where I'm speaking from the information from the Immune University Quantum Diploma and also my own practical experiences. Today we're speaking about the leading causes of death, and I have some of the notes here, and I'm very happy to share with you some other things, and not only the causes, but let's have a look then at the life force building, life-giving, essential things that we need to take ourselves into the next level, the next step, the next dimension, if you want to. So we're going to have a look, first of all, at the leading causes of death, and then some of the main essential things we need to do to maximize our health potential, our life force, our neg entropy. So I've also got a really nice video clip to show you too. And it's been around for a long time, but it's quite good to hear it again as well. And let's start first of all with some of the foods that I have from my notes here. And as Desi said, one of the largest causes of death is from the corporations today, from the greed and putting profit first over people's health. And she says we must be aware of this and inform people. So one of the biggest causes of death, and most of these are preventable. Most of them are nutrition, most of them are lifestyle, and the rest of them are just people walking around with their head in the sand, people believing what's out there on mainstream media. And believe you me, there are a lot of tricks out there. There are a lot of traps, and things are designed and engineered for all of that. So let's sort of cut to the chase and get through all of the main things. And most of these things will lead to huge diseases, chronic diseases, diabetes, cancers, heart diseases, the fibromyalgias, the autoimmune, lots of pain and inflammation. So let's get ourselves focused and avoiding these troublesome foods to start with. So processed sugar, chemical sweeteners, and high fructose corn syrups are top of her list. And lots of reason for this, because apart from containing empty calories, the processed sugar has all the fiber stripped off it, the minerals, the vitamins, and what you're left with is something with a very, very high glycemic index and far too much for the body to cope with. And in many instances, people don't have the sucrase enzyme even to digest cane sugar. And I'm seeing this more and more and more. And I wonder if people actually know this. So if you don't have the enzyme to digest this last sugar molecule, of course, it's going to float around. It's a free radical. It's going to cause damage, but you'll end up eliminating it all in any event. So it's very dangerous, that. And also, sugar without fiber, it just means that it absorbs as quickly as that. And fiber will slow down and get a more gradual release of the sugar. So that's very dangerous. And especially, it's not in the L form, in the levo form. It's in the dextrose form, which is very, 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 very big problem. This is just the tip of the iceberg, as the notes say. The other one is the high fructose corn syrup. So the liver can cope with, you see, fructose goes straight to the liver. And the liver can cope with an amount of natural fruit sugar, but not in a massive dose like it is consumed in the corn syrup. So that will then definitely go to fat and will cause diabetes. So we have to be very careful of that and look on the labels for added corn syrup, maltodextrin, those kind of things. So, as I said, and it really, really does cause also fatty liver, non-alcoholic fatty cirrhosis of the liver. And we see this so commonly. And the liver is, I would say, the beginning organ insofar as my practice is concerned, and myself, that I make sure the liver and the gallbladder are in top working order, that the quantum spin, the meridians, the energy field, is in perfect alignment, because you're only as strong as your strongest organ. The weakest organs feed off that one, and if it happens to be the liver, the other ones will be very weak too. So, what does that mean? It means almost constantly liver cleansing because of the toxins today, the avalanche of toxins that the liver is requested to deal with. It means gallbladder flushes. And, some of us are up to 8 and 10, and there's still stones coming out. So it just goes to show you, that we mustn't take the liver for granted at all. And it's more than just the liver flush and the gallbladder flush and the liver cleanse. It's also using the quantum devices that we have, the SCIO, the Eductor, the QUEX, to provoke a natural response in these organisms and to align the chakra, the magnetic spin, the pH of these organs so that they're all working like an orchestra together, feeding off each other. So I'm seeing a lot of liver problems, kidney problems, eye problems, skin problems, heart problems, digestive problems. And most of this can be fixed if we start looking at the organs. And as I said, in particular, start with the liver. So we must never overtax the liver. And once this fructose is formed fat in the liver, it's shipped out of the liver as very low density lipoprotein, which is very dangerous as well. Then still on the fat story, trans fats, heated fats, one of my pet areas. So any fish oil is heated, any vegetable, normally and we're going to get to this as well, the processed seed oils and so on, they are all heated. Most of them, unless it says cold pressed, and that you can actually validate it. So these trans fats are in the cancer forming form and free radical form, damaging the heart, the DNA, and basically a free radical. So very, very, very dangerous. The trans fat, you would get it in heated butter, in all dairy that's pasteurized, and then the sunflowers, the cornflowers, the corn, the granolas, and those kind of seed oils. And it's known as hydrogenated fat, partially hydrogenated fat, even the MCT oil, the coconut oil that's gone and got processed. So it's no longer solid at room temperature. That'll lie around in the body too. Once you heat the oil, there's no enzymes for digestion. They've gone. So it taxes the body. It lines the blood vessels. It lies in the blood, accumulates in the liver, around the heart, around the kidneys, all the major organs, and slows the blood down. Therefore, you're getting less oxygen to all the major organs. And so the body starts to decline. And you do get chronic diseases as a result of this too, and eventually death. So sugar will cause death, trans fats will cause death. And then the heat extracted synthetic or chemically processed industrial seed and vegetable oils. So leading on from that, they're highly refined oils, and you can actually taste it. And the corn oil, soybean oil, cottonseed, sunflower, safflower, granola. So the good nutrition is the cold pressed. Also, no air and no light, because air and light, if it gets into the tub where the oil is, will also form the trans fat. Most oils that end up on the shop shelf are in the trans state. They're weak. The ultraviolet light or LED light or whatever inside the shop will also cause the trans fat to happen, or the light from outside. And so there's very few of them that are going to meet the requirements for the human body and not be in the free radical form. So when they do extract it, it's a very high heat, lots of bleaching, using the toxic solvent hexane. And then the 3, 6, and 9, but these particular oils that have a very high omega-6 saturated fat, so will also contain it. So this very high omega-6 is a very big problem. And in the Western diet in particular, and the body can go really wrong from this. So one of the big causes of serious diseases in our times. So I'll talk about oil just now. Wheat. So wheat's the biggest problem with wheat is it's hybridized. I remember when I was 16, I did a project at school on wheat. And even then I was writing about, wheat sort of having had its time, too hybridized, too full of gluten, too full of synthetic plastics and chemicals and so on. The gluten is the big problem. There's 7 gluten. So when they remove one, they call it gluten-free. What about the other 6? So I just say avoid wheat. Avoid wheat on any level. It should not be around us. Not even sourdough. No. It just can't be. We're getting IBSs, celiac diseases, SIBO, all of those things. And it's when there's problems in the gut, there's problems in the brain. So especially the autistic children, people with learning and concentration, focus problems, people that are overweight, it's just going to cause even more inflammation, even more weight. So it's basically is a toxin, and it can threaten you because some people come and all they're doing is they're not absorbing any food anymore. It's passing through them. They're as thin as anything. And the minute we stop wheat and some of these other heated fats and sugars and so on, the gut gets a chance to rebuild. We bring in the microbes. We can really restore the microbiome and get the body absorbing again. But I'll go into that in detail just in a bit of time. So it will cause you to feel very tired. Your stool is inconsistent. If you've got heated oil with the butter, with the bread, and too much oil, the stool even will float. And we get lots of bloating. And of course, that's when the parasites come as well. So they're all going to live in the oil. They're going to live in the fermented wheat. They're going to live in the blood wherever the toxins are, and they will burrow through the intestinal wall and enter the bloodstream and the brain, and then you're riddled with parasites before you know it. So we don't want this leaking at all. And a leaky gut and a leaky brain, they go together. So those 4 we've already discussed. Now, processed meats, very, very important problem, very high in calories, fat, sodium. So, consuming these products regularly puts you at a risk of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. So, the processed meats have been generally salted, and they've undergone a chemical process with nitrites or nitrates. And hot dogs, lunch meats, those kind of things. And sometimes polony, and who knows what they put in the polony. So very, very dangerous processed meats. I guess we need to always go back to authenticity, organic, natural foods that are grown in the normal quantum field as nature makes them, because that's what the body can recognize. It's going to not do harm to the body. These other things are all toxic, synthetic, and very, very harmful. Too processed. And once you take something out of its natural state, natural space, you remove the DNA out of that plant and the natural intelligence. And we're not in that game at all. We're wanting to actually grow more intelligent plants to eat, to make us more intelligent, for example, not the other way around. We're not here to devolve. We should be here to evolve. And at the moment, you ask yourself the question, are we the ancestors of an endangered species? Because if you look at the genetics, if you look at the diseases, we are devolving. There's no chance that we actually are evolving. And, we're just not looking holistically at things. We're looking still at things in a reductionist way. People are buying lots and lots of bottles of things, individual items. And, the body's going to keep going out of balance. We need to eat quantum state food to remain in our quantum field, centered and conscious, and able to make intelligent decisions with our gut brain. And we'll talk about that other one afterwards. All right, the synthetic chemicals in food, well, the lists are huge. You just have to go to Dr. Google and you will see loads of E's, chemicals you can't even pronounce. And I've been reading up, it seems that we can be exposed to any number of toxins per day, up to 700,000 per day. And for our little liver to detox that's huge. So we have to be very aware of environmental chemicals and the toxins that are out there. Genetically modified toxins, very important too, because they will change our genetic structure. We'll talk about that later. So read the labels, be careful of that, go back to nature. Low-fat foods are also a problem because they're loaded with trans fats. They're loaded with often NutriSweet aspartame. And so they'll say sugar-free, low-fat, and that's dangerous. You need to go and read it. People just get fatter and fatter and fatter. The more low-fat food the fatter they get. So it's very bad for our hearts and our cholesterol levels. And as I said, yeah, to compensate for the lack of flavor, they're going to add the sugar and the salt. And also, you know, the excitogens, the MSGs and so on. Processed mayonnaise, very big problem. Read the labels. Frozen dinners, GMO food sources, you know, convenience food like this. You know, who knows if the cold chain was broken, if it's not frozen, it's on the shelf, how long has it been on the shelf, what sort of parasites and pathogens and toxins are growing in it. It's very, very dangerous. So, you know, we do need to take time for ourselves to honor and love ourselves and to feed our soul with the right kind of food, because what we eat affects what we think, affects what we do. So it's very, very important that we do take time out to do this. And also when we eat is so important. We talked about that in previous recordings on Tuesdays. We must eat before sunset. We can't eat after that. The food becomes a poison to the body. So, you know, when you eat is important, what you eat is important, and the space and how you're eating is important. If you're angry, rather don't eat, because it's just the food's going to just be toxic for the body, and the worms will come to help it digest. So the condition of our mind and our state when we're eating is important. If it's too hot, rather wait for it to get a little bit cooler, and things like that. Always want to be making wise choices, and I don't think anybody can directly dictate to anyone else about what they should be eating or shouldn't be eating is what I'm doing right now, because it goes for all. But what you should be eating is often a soul decision, and it can change. So you can be vegan, you can be vegetarian, you can be meat eating, you can go back to eggs only, you can go back to veganism, plant-based, depending on phases in your life and depending what's going on a soul level. So as you evolve, it shifts. So that's why I'm saying to draw up a diet plan for someone or a nutrition plan, it's just senseless, because you're not in their shoes, and the chances of people sticking to it, and you know yourself, are zero, because you're going to wake up on Thursday morning, it says eggs. Oh no, I don't feel like eggs. So then what? And also take your power and make your own nutritional plans if that's how you want to be. You know, and more of an autopilot. Make your own plans. Put in what you consider delicious, what you consider food as medicine for your body. Now, chemically synthetic margarine, heated plant oil, those sources. And I remember when I was young and Rama came out in South Africa, and Flora margarine, that's right. And the ad went, if you love your children, give them Flora. No, sorry. They advertised this plant spread, and then the butter industry came out and said, if you love your children, give them butter. Now both were really untruths, because the butter was all heated. So, you know, was 6 of one, half a dozen of another. Actually, neither. If it was raw butter, unsalted, different story. But they weren't. The butter industry wasn't talking about that. So. So these margarines are very fatty. You're going to put on weight by using them, and it's full of the trans fats, the hydrogenated oils, causing cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and more. And these are leading chronic diseases of the world. I'll show you a video in a moment. Then she mentions here as well, sodas and sweet drinks, just about the worst. The worst thing, I think, on the planet. First of all, Coke might as well be battery acid. It is battery acid. It's got full of phosphoric acid, very acidic, very dangerous, very toxic to the body, full of sugar, absolutely full of sugar. And it can actually put you off balance like this. A client was telling me today that her little son, autistic son, got hold of 1.5 liters, I think, of heated fruit juice, and which is totally acidic and full of sugar that's shouldn't be like that, wrong form, and just went off balance completely. So we've got to gently bring the child back into balance again. So even the heated fruit juice is acidic. It's not how nature intended it. So be very, very careful. All those little boxes of fruit juice, be very careful of those. Very, very careful. Smoking, major cause of death, apart from these foods. And, you know, it even says it on the packet. So people know it. It definitely causes a lot of toxic resistance in the lungs, which means you get lower amount of oxygen in the blood and lower amount of oxygen to the organs per minute. It thickens the blood too. The red blood cells stick together as well. So it's really, really not doing you a favor at all. In fact, people with low oxygen do smoke often because the inhalation and the nicotinic acid causes a vasodilation. You get a rush of oxygen through, especially to the brain, because the blood flowed quickly, and then it dies down again. The next cigarette, that happens again, and it dies down again. So instead of actually stepping outside, grounding, getting in the sun, breathing deeply, and getting the oxygen that the organs want, you know, you're trying to do it with the cigarettes. That's the problem. So it's very, very you know, dangerous and reckless, especially you know, children see and children do. And if you're smoking in front of children, of course, all the exhaled smoke, you're a passive smoker. And I think that's probably the most dangerous, selfish thing about smoking as well. Let's just see here. All right. But we all good this side. Yeah, and so we just, you know, how do we expect our children to behave? And of course, you know, the greed of the tobacco industry it's huge. So they'll do anything to keep the shares up. Keep those shares up. We talked about sugar. Nothing has killed more people than sugar. Seriously. And I remember being in a lecture that Desi once gave, and she said that sugar is not from this planet. Potatoes and sugar potatoes and corn, I think, are not from this planet. Okay, patented drugs, very, very dangerous. One in the top 3 causes of death, and I'm going to show you a little video clip now. Also about synthetic synthetic supplements. So you've got to be very careful of patented. So I was talking this morning at a health pharmacy to the staff training, and be careful of all these patents and things, because you can't patent nature. You can't patent kelp or turmeric or ginseng or reishi or chaga or pollen. You can't patent that. But what gets patented is the processing. In the processing, you lose the DNA of the natural plants, and you lose the intelligence of the plant. So kelp is no longer kelp anymore. It's gone through processing, heating, drying, freezing, extracting. And when you do that, you disturb the nature. You take that natural plant out of its quantum spin. And that's when the body's got to come in. It doesn't recognize it. It sees it as a toxin. The white blood cells arrive, leukocytosis, same with heated food. They arrive there, and the body's got to reorganize this out of spin nutrition. So it becomes toxic. So very, very dangerous. Medicines are synthetic, and that's that. They do harm to the body. They do not cure. They do not shift people from illness to wellness. They might subdue the symptoms. So you're symptom free but still ill. And you know, this is the goes towards the topic of my doctorate, looking at a holistic framework for well-being. And, you know, we want to remove the toxins as far as possible, and remove the MSG, the aspartame, the high fructose corn syrup, the agave nectar, artificial food colorings, BHA, BHT, the plastics, sodium nitrite, sodium nitrate, keeping the redness to the meat, potassium bromate, very dangerous, recombinant bovine growth hormone, BGH, refined vegetable oils, GMOs, and it literally goes on. So that's just giving you an idea of leading causes of death. And let's have a look now at the little video clip on the nutrients. It's going to be on my WhatsApp because I can't get a link. So we're going to play it on the WhatsApp. Let's just share that. I just have to see why that stopped midstream. I'll get it back to the point where we were. No, not again. The only thing I can do is go back in again, so just bear with me. It's nearly through anyway. Nearly through, look at that. Okay, so that is the end. Sorry, I didn't realize that it ended exactly then. It was a clip of a much longer video that I knew from before. However, this is the reality. It's one of the patented medicines are one of the top 3 causes of death. And, the thing is, you paid for it. You've gone and to somebody who's giving you basically something that, they know that 1 in 3 people are going to die from. And most people are not on one medication. In fact, 50% of people are on at least one medication for chronic disease. And many of those are on 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I mean, I get people coming to see me who are on 7, 9. How can that be? How can the body function with that amount of toxins in it? And mostly, these medicines are setting out to fix, are they causing it at the same time? So I'm a pharmacist. I know I can get hold of package inserts easily. I know about the drug actions and the side effects. So again, you just ask yourself the question. What am I doing? Mostly, everybody should be tuning into their gut feel, tuning into their inner wisdom that everybody has, and asking themselves these questions. And keeping things simple. The more complex things get, and the more involved and involuted and all the rest of it, the more there's something up. That's why I just say keep to authenticity, keep to nature. Food that you can see, food that's got entrapped sunlight, that's full of electrons from the photons from the sunlight, full of electrons that it's going to feed us, it's going to give us life force. And remember that the plants, the life force that the plant's giving us is made from the glucose in the plant as it interacts with the sunlight. So, but this is a very high frequency glucose. It's not the sucrose, right? So very, very important. And as I said in the beginning, there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of deliberate marketing, in favor of the various industries and corporations to just prosper out of. So, I do rely on you to read. To read, to make to critically think about things. And again, carbon dioxide and plants, and I think our deforestation has also led to really big imbalances between the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. So let's now move to the solutions, because this is the most important thing, is what are we going to do about it? So I've got a little list here. Actually, there are 10 things on it. So if you've got your pieces of paper, let's start reversing all of this. And again, my doctorate, my thesis is about this framework for holistic framework for well-being. And I do talk about the Flexner report in there, because that was the beginning of synthetic medicine. And we are now in quantum medicine, which is a whole step ahead, which is reintroducing back the energy medicine, the quantum field, the nature, the universe, which our ancestors as tribes all knew about, tapped into it, used it. And I'm not saying go back, I'm saying go forward with the wisdom, because the wisdom will always prevail, the truth will always prevail. And it's been an experiment. We've gone through it. We obviously requested it and designed it, but we can look back now and say, okay, well, we learned this and we learned that, and this isn't serving us anymore. So let's just have a look then at this list. So number one on my list, this has got nothing to do with the notes, is light, sunlight. So the highest form of nutrient, the highest form of energy is a photon, which comes straight out of the sun. It's free in most countries, in most places in the world. You see the sun every day, and most powerful at dawn and dusk, as it rises and as it sets. So that hour from dawning and the hour as it's setting, most powerful. The morning is more powerful with infrared, which is medicine. So apart from that, in the early morning, you also get the cosmic dust that's falling 24/7, tons of it, full of nutrients from outer space, basically. It can go through your skin, you can breathe it in, and you find when you are outside early in the morning, in the sunlight, twice a day, 3, 4, 5 times a day, dipping in and out of it, grounding yourself, you don't need so much food because you're fed. And you're fed with the highest form of energy. So sunlight is the highest form of energy. You're breathing oxygen. It's a nutrient. We need it. It's free. And, ask yourself, are you breathing? Are you breathing? Are you breathing properly? Are you doing breathing exercises? Are you filling your lungs? Again, looking at emotions. Are you carrying the whole genetic package of sadness and grief? Has the construct that you're living in today, has it increased the sadness? And that's what we do at 365. We start, crystallizing out the issues regarding the organs. So breathing is absolutely critical. Oxygen. The earth, absolutely essential. That is what one of the things, the sunlight will charge us. We are a battery, a photoelectric battery, if you like. And we need to be charged by the sun and charged by the oxygen and charged by the earth. All right. And bare feet, bare-legged, touch that grass, touch that sand. If it's slightly damp, if it's on the beach, even better, because you will be fed, you will be charged by the electrons. We need electrons. Everything around us is positively charged. We need those electrons to balance everything and to be healthy, to be able to even absorb our food. So, grounding is essential. And I remember reading somewhere before, every 90 seconds, our body is looking for a GPS. And if we're not on the ground, it can't find it. So at 365 Healthy by Choice, I've made earthing mats, EMF pendants, and we've got this beautiful time crystal, piezoelectric time crystal, scalar wave, 24/7, grounding us, earthing us, keeping us in the quantum spin, and protecting us from emotions, negativity, bringing in life force. So everything I'm talking about now is life force. Everything we talked about before is anti-life force, entropy. We're talking about neg entropy now and everything that builds life. All right? And your emotions are a very big factor, because you can line your table with bottles and food, but if emotions are eating you've got to get those out first, definitely. So we've done light, we've done earth, we've done oxygen. Let's talk about water. Absolutely essential. We 80% water ourselves, and the water carries the food and nutrition and oxygen. It also carries the waste away and carbon dioxide back to the lungs and all the excretory organs. So absolutely essential, and the structure of the water in particular. So we need to get hold of the best water that we can find. Spring water obviously is the best. And remembering also that we are electromagnetic light beings. So our magnetic field is so important. That's why grounding is essential, and light is essential, and to protect ourselves from electromagnetic frequencies, radiation, and negative emotions of others. Other people will basically take your electrons straight out of your field. It's osmosis. You don't even have to offer them. They will just move. So very careful again with the company you with. I always say that the company with that you with should either equal your energy or potentiate a much higher energy between the parties in the company when you leave. So you need to be building and charging your battery 24/7 to do it. Sleeping adequately, 10 o'clock, we need to sleep. So that the serotonin, melatonin, a circadian rhythm can kick in as well. And, electrical lights are a big problem. We should really have natural light, candles, things like that. And, we should be sleeping before 10. And then you get up early. Much easier that, much more fresh, you're more operative and you're more productive, and you've gained all the cosmic dust and the sunlight and so on. And that will increase longevity, anti-aging, neg entropy, life force. And then, so in order for this magnetism, I'm just going to show you some products that we have in our stable that will enhance these aspects that I've talked about. So we need to magnetize our bodies. I'll show you the products. We're going to need to bring the minerals in. So minerals you will get from our food, especially plant-based. Fruit will give us that, but not as much as the soft leafy veggies, but also and the herbs and so on. But also you'll get enzymes from the fruit. So we need both. We need good protein. We need good oils. We need because protein interacts with the light, by the way. So those photons interact with protein, which give us our energy. Our mitochondria get stimulated. We get energy from that. Mitochondria, remember, are bacteria in any event. We need the good oils because oil is essential also to set up electrical potentials around the body, particularly the cell membrane. So oil is essential. And we use the flaxseed oil, and I'll talk about that and other sources of oils just now. Fermented essential microbes, beneficial microbes, have to have that. They contain the genetic material, they contain the wisdom, and they will imprint on us the newer forms of DNA that we need as we evolve. And then we need the nuclear proteins, the RNA and the DNA, uracil, guanine, adenine, thymine, cytosine, because these are the beginning proteins that will form our amino acid bank, our genetic bank. So you need those 5 nuclear proteins, which is in the replica RNA DNA, to form your genes and to form your 400,000 amino acids in your body. Otherwise, you'll be missing them. So let's look at the sources of these things. The light I've talked about in terms of sunlight. The earth, fine, we can't, there's no other nourishment for earth. You can't really eat the earth. Oxygen, we've got our cell oxygen. We've got drops, cell vitality OxyMinerals, and we've got our oxygen also in a capsule form. All right, so we can enhance our breathing, particularly when we're chronically ill or just don't feel 100%. We can use the oxygen to detoxify us. In fact, if we don't breathe, the reason we die is not because of lack of oxygen, because of lack of detoxification. So oxygen is a wonderful product, one of our many, that enhances detoxification quickly and gets those terrible heavy metals out, uranium, plutonium, parasites, and so on, chemicals, environmental toxins. So we have the product with oxygen in it. We also have DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide, also carrying an oxygen actually and a sulfur for detox. So in addition to all our breathing, we can actually enhance this with little products that have a lower voltage than our normal breath and only will remove degenerative material out of our body that's got no life force. So they will scavenge and take that out. So that's our solution to oxygen where we need more. Water we would get the spring water. We would use that. If you don't have that, we would actually activate the water. You can get 2 tumblers and create a vortex into the one glass, pour it into the other glass, create a vortex, and you do that for about 4 or 5 minutes, and you will have much more structured water, much more healthier water. The body can absorb it. It's wettable. So spring water is natural. The body knows what to do with it. It's structured. It's how it should be. But we can actually enhance normal water to do that. And once the water is structured, the bacteria and the toxins are pushed out. And our body is made up of structured water. Our urine is full of structured water. So urine therapy is another whole issue on its own too. But our urine contains our prescription there and then now. So let's say you're treating a cancer patient, the cancer, the degeneration, the pathogens, parasites that are involved are always a step ahead. But if you consume your urine, which is structured water, which will get absorbed, you have the prescription there and then for that day, just to tell you. So you can go and Google more on that. Very, very interesting. I think you need to eat very clean if you want to drink the urine. Because also if you're detoxifying specifically, you should wait a bit and also drink the midstream. So you let the first lot out. Okay. So we talked about the structured water. Also, let's talk about now electromagnetism. And I want to show you a product which definitely helps the magnetic spin. It's called Zeolite. It's paramagnetic rock dust from the volcano lava that's ground up. Zeolite or volcanic rock dust, same thing. This one it's got the certificate of analysis for human consumption. It's double activated. So the octagon 8-sided ring is extra clean. So it's extra magnetic. Okay. So it will magnetize the toxins out, but at the same time, it gives you a magnetic charge. It is paramagnetic, so it's giving you the spin that you need and also raising consciousness as a result of it. So I really do recommend it. I've got the Marvelous 8. If you look on YouTube, and I've gone through them week by week, but I would definitely recommend something like this to bring the charge back. Something like a piezoelectric time crystal will bring the the charge back to us. And earthing is going to bring the electromagnetic charge in. So very important. It's about electron spin. Everything is about electron spin. And we talked just now about the nutrients. They must have the right spin as well. So also now we're talking minerals. The battery pack are Ormus gold, which has got gold, silver, copper, nickel, iridium, palladium, all the platinum, precious metal minerals in it. Are conductive minerals. So this is what the body needs. Like the cell phone, when you plug it in, it gets conductive electrons from the copper in the wall, and the light comes on, and the cell phone gets charged, etc. This is our plug-in. The gold, silver, copper, nickel. It's M state, very, very, very high frequency. This will heal us. It will detoxify us. It will remove toxins, pathogens, calms the mind, crosses the blood-brain barrier, clears the brain. And you can read more on the website. Absolutely miraculous. It's alchemy, salt to gold, and that's going to charge our mineral bank. And with the conductive minerals, you will also get the other minerals from, as I said, from vegetables, organic vegetables. We'll talk about in a moment. Remember, spring water has also got Ormus in it. And it has the right magnetic charge for us as well. You need to have a look at the calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, iron levels, copper. We've talked about that already, because those little trace elements are also absolutely critical to our well-being. And they're not conductive, but they're important for the pathways. And so are enzymes. Enzymes are absolutely critical. So enzymes operate at the interface between our potential energy and our kinetic energy, or the spiritual and the physical, if you like. So absolutely critical for hundreds of pathways. They're made of protein. So it gets back to our protein products, which I'll speak about in a moment. And in fact, now I'm going to be talking about the proteins now. So that's a good time to bring the enzymes in. I mentioned to you the Replica RNA DNA earlier. So these are the 5 nuclear proteins that are made by beneficial bacteria. It's bacterial cell wall fragments. It's got the 5 nuclear proteins in it, which will form all our genes and all our amino acids in our body. So our body needs to absorb amino acids. Protein is too heavy, it won't. So if you're on a very high protein diet, it's got a big problem. You're going to age, the kidney's going to get blocked because of all the protein. The body won't cope, the liver won't cope. And especially if you don't have uracil, because uracil is mRNA, which is necessary for protein metabolism. You need the enzymes also for protein metabolism. Protease, for example, you need the enzymes for all digestion, absorption, metabolism. So we need proteins for that. And, what have we got in our stable to have a look at protein? So we've got quite a lot. So nothing in the 365 Healthy by Choice table is synthetic, impure, a filler, a binder, contains wheat, dairy, sugar, preservatives. It is 100% pure and natural and unique. And I formulated a lot of these, a lot of the products myself. So we start with products like a stress defense shield and the brain fuel. These are smoothies. They're in a cacao base, and which is full of antioxidants, by the way, with the hemp protein base. And then I've put, you can read it in here. You can look on the website. There's over 30 nutrients in there. So nutrients, adaptogenic herbs, and a whole load. Medicinal mushrooms, adaptogenic herbs, cat's claws, tahibos, kelp, etc., aromatase inhibitors, whatever I've researched and saw, I put this together long ago, at least 6 or 7 years ago. And it's also available in a capsule form. So we also have it in the capsule form, the stress defense shield, the brain fuel, and the extreme performance boost. So now you're giving your body a wonderful chance, because there's 30 nutrients in here, all pure, no fillers or binders, nothing to interfere with digestion or anyone's blood group or anything like that. And your body will take what it needs, when it needs it, how it needs it. All right, so you're getting potentiation here, because 1 + 1 is 3, 3 + 3 is 9. What is 30 + 30? The math people can work that one out. So there's huge potentiation here. And you just need a trace for the body to provoke a response in the body. These are electron dense, nutrient dense, life force full. And all you're wanting to do here is actually, these are electrons. Yes, some of them taste nice, but it's electron spin that we're talking about, life force. This does it. So instead of you buying 30 different products, you can actually get it in one pack ready made for you, and or in the capsule form. So 2 capsules is equivalent to a tablespoon of the cacao-based smoothie boost, just to tell you. Then I took these nutrients and I made a bee mix, for example, also on the website, full of royal jelly, propolis, and bee pollen, all essential amino acids in here, and doing specific things for connective tissue, especially for vegans. You need the pollen. Fertility, allergies, actually, the bee pollen will form its own mRNA, as will chlorella. So those 2 are very important plant-based forms of uracil, mRNA. And that's the protein we need. It's essential in the right coding for every single next cell generation. We can't have a SNP. If you don't have enough RNA, DNA, if you don't have enough adenine and guanine and thymine and cytosine, there'll be a SNP. So we want to make sure that the genetic code is perfect. It can be perfect. It can become perfect. We want to make sure that the essential proteins are there. So you get it from the bee mix. You'll get it from the medicinal mushroom mix. So we've got 6 medicinal mushrooms in here: reishi, chaga, shiitake, cordyceps, lion's mane, maitake, shiitake, and all in one. So it's potentiation again, and very important for heart, for organs, kidneys, brain, cholesterol, blood sugar, calming, healing, all essential amino acids, immunity. So all of these have got, again, the proteins in different electron form. Some of them taste very nice. So we've also got an algae mix, all the essential amino acids, Blue-green algae, number 1 for stem cells. The lion's mane is number 1 for brain stem cells. And the raw jelly is also in our Activa Stem Cell product. The cordyceps also in the Activa Stem Cells. The horseshoe were also. So these are forming adult stem cells. And we need to keep enlivening ourselves. And by the way, the algae are and the medicinal mushrooms and the pollen are light sensitive from the sun, photo light sensitive. So if you're consuming the medicinal mushrooms, for example, with ergosterol, as you step out in the sun, that ergosterol in you will make your own vitamin D. Fantastic. So all of these are light sensitive, and they all give the body nutrients as you step out into the light. So we're really talking about nutrition on a very high level here. It's not anywhere close to lettuce, tomato, and cottage cheese and chicken. This is a very high frequency nutrition, which is meeting the standards that our body needs in terms of light. And in terms of electron spin and electron charge, electromagnetic charge. So you don't need a lot of it. You know, you could have some of the pollen in the morning, some mushrooms in the afternoon, some algae in the evening, whichever way you want to do it. You could alternate day after day too. So, you know, and you'll be forming stem cells. So, you know, the choice is yours at the end of all of this. So very, very important. Also, don't forget organic sprouts. That's not even protein. That's straight amino acids. And really inexpensive, really easy to sprout, 2 days, 3 days maximum. And you've got the root coming out and the seeds soft and ready to eat, all with the very high, powerful, high potency amino acids. Don't forget also organic nuts and seeds. And, you know, that they need to be fresh, because most of these nuts and seeds are deshelled and they lie on the shelves. Same as the oil, it lies on the shelves and the oil becomes rancid. And that's a very big problem. But don't forget them, because they have the good oils in them. They have good protein in them. And, you know, notice I haven't mentioned a lot about carbohydrate, because there's a role and a place for carbohydrate, and we can't cut it out completely. But when you're not building houses and doing extreme physical work, you know, you can get enough energy from your oil. And, you know, too much carbohydrate, you're just going to put on weight. So we have to moderate it. It's inflammatory too. I prefer things like buckwheat, millets, quinoa. Those kind of foods. Quinoa, millet, those ones. Sorghum, alkaline seed, rather than actually grains themselves. And I find the digestion process much better. And those pseudo cereals, the seeds, actually will absorb as much toxins and do the job of a carbohydrate. It's also, you know, the microbes will partially live in them. But like I said, you can't rule out carbs completely, because they host the microbes. One of the things that's got, they're prebiotics. They contain the inulin, especially the very cellulosey ones as well. But again, not too much. The thing that's a mitigating factor about all of this is that a lot of the food is hybridized, and a lot of the fruits has got sugar impregnated into it, into the genetic structure. So those are going to cause us to go out of balance, that's for sure. So try to eat organic heirloom fruits, vegetables, seeds, and also when you're planting yourself. That's very, very important. So protein is critical, because the protein interacts with the light, okay, and forms the light waves and gives us our energy, and it lights up inside the cell, the mitochondria, to cause energy. So very, very important. Another important one now, let's move to the oil. So we use the flaxseed oil. It's got the highest life force, the fastest electron spin. The electron spin is closest to the central neutron and the proton. So a spirulina has got a much higher life force spin than lettuce, for example. The flaxseed oil has got the highest life force of all the oils, and it does different things. All right, it brings an electrical potential into the cell membrane, allowing for the transfer of oxygen and food, apart from being in the exact format of omega-3, 6, and 9 that our body is in. You never, ever heat this. So you would water, stir, fry, and steam, and then dish the food, when it's cool, you would put a tablespoon of the flaxseed oil on. It's absolutely essential for brain functioning, for autistic children, concentration, focus, for joint pain, to line the lungs, to line the gut, to line the reproductive system, the lungs and the gut, so that oxygen moves through, so that food gets absorbed. It's essential. It's called essential. And the flaxseed oil grows where we live. The deep sea fish that oil is too dense and it's heated, it's in the trance state. I talked about it earlier, and that's a fact. Doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier. That's a fact. There's too much research on this. So this is our choice, and Professor Desi's with me on this one as well. So the one that we have is pressed and bottled in 1 month and sent to the company in cardboard boxes. It's not been on near any electrical field in any warehouse, and they don't store the oil, the company either. So it's produced on a month-by-month basis, and sometimes you wait. Yeah, so it's very important that. Yes, you can eat flax seeds. You would need 3 tablespoons of flax seeds to get 1 tablespoon of the oil, and that's fine. You can freshly ground them immediately and eat them. Because if you then expose it to light or put it in the fridge, you're damaging that oil. You're putting it into the wrong frequencies. So yes, you can do that. So oil, remember now, oil is also working with the electrical potential of the body, the electromagnetism and the functioning of the whole body, our thought processing, and also the cells, because they're enabling the food and the water, and the food and oxygen to go in, and water and waste and carbon dioxide to leave. And then, what have I got left to show you? Okay, so I want to talk about the last one, which is essential beneficial bacteria, fungi, and yeasts. And these are in the fermented, our microbiome reset. It's got up to 120 live strains and substrains. So this will reset your own individual microbiome, and everybody has their own. So giving the body the choice, and these will shapeshift into the right form that they need to be in, or the right form. And it forms half of your immunity, because the white blood cells will get called to heal a point in the body. And so will these microbes, are very sensitive, and they will shapeshift into the opportunistic form, the pathogenic form, and go and attack any toxin that's in the body. And if you don't have enough of these microbes, you're going to miss out on half of your immunity. They're critical. The DNA imprints on us. It's ahead of us. It's shifting us. It's evolving us. Our wisdom is coming from the microbes. They're digesting our food. There's live enzymes in there. This one does not go in the fridge. And it's second generation, brewed with the blue-green algae, the pollens, the medicinal mushrooms, the kelps, the zeolite, to produce much higher nutrients that aren't even documented, and microbes too, because the blue-green algae's got its own microbes anyway. So is the spirulina. These are all naturally grown and just ground up. That's all. So you're introducing the essential extra bacteria, fungi, and yeasts that are taking this then to the next level. So I was saying to somebody when I was presenting this morning, that this range raises the bar. One of the managers did actually say that. So it does. And as you can see, we're bringing in light, because we have it in the product, in the Ormus Gold. It's all light. If you look at Ormus Gold under the microscope, you will see gazillions of light electrons. It's just a field of light, like a galaxy. If you look at the microbes under the microscope, you're going to see all the light as well. So even if they're in the soil, they're light. Okay, so they're photoelectric lights, magnetized with electrons. So that really sort of ends where I'm at today, what I'm bringing to the world, what I'm teaching, what I'm educating, and what the clients get. So a lot of these are for clients, they're for you, they're for practitioners, to make small changes to what you're doing alongside what you're already doing, and to start getting things right, and to trust your gut feel, and to work with that, and to work out what works for you. As a client, you need to work out what works for you. I can only educate and bring things forward and share on this level. The rest you need to work out yourself. And if you feel a bit of this or a bit of that or a little bit less of this works for you, that's fine. But at least a lot of the guesswork is removed. And also, guess what? When I test you on the quantum, the QUXED, I get massive results. And you feel better because you got all the ducks in a row. You've got all the important things. So I'm learning each day. You never know, you'll never know it all. You'll never reach your health destination because it's a continuum. And as humans, we have the emotional aspect at play, neurological, emotional. And this is our honor. It's our responsibility to clear our emotions and actually those of the lineage. We have them in us, whether we like it or not. It's imprinted in our DNA. So in getting ourselves into the central point, into the highest quantum spin we can, being as well a being as possible. And this is the framework I'm holistically setting up for people. And in my doctorate, we can then deal with chaos, repattern, deal with some more chaos, repattern, and that's the quantum field. And raise our consciousness and become more conscious and more aware of everything around us and ourselves. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And I hope it's made a lot of sense, and I hope you've resonated with it all. And I would love to hear feedback. I would love to hear what you do so that we can keep building on our model and on our framework. Actually, model is all done, is tested. It's done. You've done quantitative research. So our framework, if you like, and that's evidence-based medicine. So you're working with research products. You're using patient feedback, and you're using validated and verified assessment tools. So yes, we have it all available to us, and I urge you to go and look at the other videos that I've done, some of them with the professor, and learn. And you know it's coming from the right source, a good source, because it is what it is, and it's authentic. More than that, let me know your views and what you come up with too, please. I'd love to learn. We'll see you next week.